Mama. I'm Courtney Cecil, proud mom of two boys and an organizational culture and behavior change executive. And I'm a believer in building a movement to help the burned out, overwhelmed working moms reclaim their control and free time so that they can confidently remain in the workforce without losing the sanity or themselves. Now, let's get started.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Life Management System. And inside this snack size episode, we're going to talk about meal planning and prep because I know that for most of us moms, that is the one thing that completely is a ball and chain. And that's because our little animals, little monsters we've decided to bring into this world have to eat 365 days a year. And turns out they tend to eat not just 2 to 3 meals, but all freaking day. First of all, let's start with the why. I always like to start with why does something matter before I introduce the concept. So specifically with meal planning, why does meal planning matter? First of all, obviously there's the time. When you are planning something, it inherently ends up saving you time downstream. Also, it's going to save you money because when you're planning, you can plan things around sales and you can capitalize on some of those opportunities that your grocery store has or discounts or whatever it may be. So save money. Also, when you think about the cost of eating in versus eating out, tremendous cost saver. In fact, I was talking to one of my best friends about this concept, and we laughed. She sent me a screenshot that night because I was talking about how eating in saves hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And she said, "Yeah, I believe it," because they were guilty of eating out that night. So she screenshot her Uber Eats order, and sure as shit, it was $80 just to eat one night of food from their local restaurant. And that was quick, fast food. So 80 bucks for one night, which is almost enough for an entire week of groceries for a family of four. The other reason that meal planning and meal prep and getting it right is so important is everybody's going to eat healthier. And it's not just about you taking care of yourself and helping your future body. It's also about instilling healthy eating habits in your kids because whatever you do, whatever you prioritize and model is likely what they're going to do as they grow up. Okay, so I promise you, if you stick with me, you will learn some very easy ways that will allow you to both save time and decision fatigue, because I know those tend to be the biggest pinch points for most people as it relates to meal planning. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you actually building an inventory of your go-to recipes. So when you think about the favorites of the faves, whether that be something you found online or something that you have in this legacy family cookbook that's been passed down to you, it doesn't matter the source. I want you building a list of everything that you eat, everything that you continue to go back to time after time after time because it's such a hit with you or your family. And I want you categorizing that inventory to make it really easy to figure out what it is you're looking for. So I want you thinking through these categories. First, freezer foods. What are the things that you can very easily pre-prep and freeze and then pull out? So things like soups and casseroles tend to do really well in that category. The next, what can you whip together in under 15 minutes? So those 15-minute meals. What do you grill? What's diet friendly when you're starting to button things up? January comes around, you're trying to get over the very gluttonous holiday season. So those things that tend to be a little bit more go-to for when you're in those phases of eating really, really clean and maybe more strict than you tend to do. Okay, what else do you use when you either host or you tailgate or do whatever it is that your family does from a hobby perspective that frequents your calendar? And then I also like to identify whether things are a protein, a carby side, a vegetable side, an appetizer, or a dessert, because those tend to be other categories that people will want to go back to over and over. So, for example, let's pretend you decide you want to grill. You're having a barbecue, you want to grill. So yeah, you've got the meats and maybe even veggies or like kebabs or something in that grill category, but you also probably are going to look for other side items that you can easily throw together. So I have mine in Word. I don't know, guys, I hate Excel, but obviously you can probably start to put together the advantages of building something like this out in Excel, because then you can have multiple items that have multiple categories and start to sort or filter that way. Okay, so once you've built out your inventory, honestly, that's probably going to take you the better part of a morning. It's not fast. When you do it right, it's not fast. It's going to take you a couple hours. But here's the stick. You do it once. You build that inventory one single time, and then you get to go back over and over and over. So not only is it making your process of planning faster, you can also layer in other categories to make it to where it's solving for your decision fatigue as well. So as an example, let's pretend what you do build this out in Excel. Maybe one of the fields that you add is around time. Like, when was the last date we ate it? So that way you can start to see that column building out. And then that will allow you to start narrowing in on the things you haven't had as frequently. So it's starting to make the decisions for you based on how those fields are being lit up in your spreadsheet. Okay, so when you build out that inventory, something else I want you thinking about, I want you hyperlinking any online recipes that you use. So anything that was a Pinterest success, I want you going in there and I want you actually linking that original recipe. Now, for me, I take it a step further. When I find a recipe I love, I'm really nervous about it, like that Pinterest link failing or that blog going down. So in those circumstances, if it's something I really like, I'm actually going to copy and paste the full recipe just to make sure I have it protected. But that also allows me to make any changes. But I do appreciate having the link there because it makes it so much faster. And sometimes I just need that visual. I also want you making sure that you are consulting your family recipe books, like anything that's hardcover. I want you pulling that in. And when you're going through that effort already, particularly if it's a physical recipe book that you've gotten from somewhere else, go ahead and write the page number, like make it easier on your future self. Then I also want you thinking about anything else. I want you brainstorming the broader category of stuff you eat. So as an example, I love Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay cheese biscuits. So you can buy the packet on Amazon. I've seen it at Costco. Every now and then I'll see it at the grocery store, but y'all can buy that, which is amazing. And I love to use those biscuits during the holidays with a paired with a salad and a pork loin. So knowing that that's something I tend to go to, I'm going to want to drop that in the carbs, even though it is not necessarily a recipe that I am needing to consult. The recipe comes on the box, but it is just the speed at which I need to access items in my brain. And the fact that I didn't want to have to sit there and think, I want to make it as easy on myself as possible. Because the easier I have to plan, the more likely I am to stick to this habit of planning. So essentially, you right now building out this inventory is helping your future self. So the other thing I want you to do is I want you to batch process the meals. And we are going to talk about that inside the next episode. Okay, now we're going to talk about the actual planning part. So once you have the inventory built out, we're going to focus on how you plan and how you make it easier. So, one thing that I love to do is to create calendar entries that I use Outlook, but I have a calendar entry that is standard. In my Outlook, I repeat it so that the format is the same every single week, and I already have the days of the week built out. So all I have to do is plop something in. What that also does is it allows me to access future weeks. So if I have an idea or something I want to try, I can go ahead and put it in that calendar entry beside the date. So that way I'm not having to worry about keeping up with the idea in my brain or going back to it. It's like I've already planned in advance. Okay. So once you have those repeatable calendar entries built out, wherever it is that you store your calendar, then I want you sitting down the same day every single week whenever you can. And I say that because when you get in that habit, when you've been able to identify a day that works for your schedule, it allows you to build a habit. And that habit, so that habit becomes sticky. And the stickier something is, the more often you're repeating it, the more likely you are to fulfill that obligation or fulfill that habit you're trying to create. So once you figure out the day of the week that you're going to do this, I want you looking 2 full weeks out to plan your meals. So the purpose of that is certainly to batch process. You hear me talk about batch processing a lot. So when you're already in the flow of planning, it just keeps you there. But also it allows you to make more strategic decisions on the ingredients. So that way you buy something once, use it a couple times. So as an example, there is a Chipotle pepper chicken taco that I is just honestly to die for. I absolutely love it. But opening those can of chili peppers, I want to do that one time. I don't want to have to buy them now, only use half, and then go back and have to buy another can a month down the road and only use half of it then too. So it allows you to be a lot more strategic. But I want you, when you plan and when you're looking at your calendar, to look at things like travel and after school kid activities and what your work schedule is and that sort of thing, because those are different types of activities that might require different types of circumstances for you to account for in your planning. Also, look to see, are you hosting someone, or would you be working late, or do you need to eat out because you're on the go with sports? That sort of thing. I want you plugging all of that information in your day of the week. So that way you're saying, okay, we're hosting on this day. I need to account for that. Or eating out on this day. I need to account for that. After you have decent grounding on what your calendar will look like over the next couple of weeks, I then want you to actually start the planning process. So, first of all, look and see what inventory you already have in your house. What's in your pantry? What's in your freezer? That sort of thing is an easy makes it easier to decide what you might want to account for. So as an example, if I have chicken thighs in my freezer or if I have ground beef in my freezer, then I might say, okay, I'm going to do a spaghetti sauce or I'm going to do, we're going to grill. So certainly use your freezer and your pantry as inspiration. And if I should say, actually, if you tend to buy in bulk, also keep that inventory on your phone because when you do that, it's actually going to save you some time too of constantly having to dig through your freezer. But consult your pantry and freezer for ideas. Consult your grocery sales circulars. So, as an example, I always wait until the wild Alaskan salmon goes on sale at my grocery store. And once it does, I know that's certainly going to be something that is on my meal plan for that week. So consult your sales circular as well. Not only is it going to help you save some money, but it's also going to inspire some of your ideas. So once I figure that out, for any of the remaining meals I need, based on the calendar and what I just thought about, that's when I start filling in the gaps using that inventory. And normally so we're a family of four. Normally for a family of four, I try to target about 3 meals a week because that's enough for us to have leftovers on a couple of days and then also accounts for some wiggle room to have some nights out for us to meet friends. So to recap that part, like first of all, you build out the inventory. Second of all, you figure out what your calendar needs, like what your needs are based on your calendar. And then third, you consult your pantry, your freezer, and the sales circulars to inspire ideas and you fill in the blanks. Now, let's pretend you've done all that and you're still like, Courtney, this is still too much for me to think about. I like to think not even a little bit. So you can take that a step further and actually do themed days of the week. So I'm going to link this in the show notes, but and that way you can reference it if you desire to. But here are some examples of themes that have a lot of wiggle room that might inspire you to do something different on each of the days. So let's take Monday. Monday could be macaroni Monday, and like not really necessarily macaroni, it could be any noodle dish. Or you could do make your own. You could do a salad bar or a burger tray or charcuterie platter or something of that nature. For Tuesdays, tapas and Tex-Mex. So if you're doing Tex-Mex, then it's tacos, burritos, burrito bowls, quesadillas, fajitas. Like it takes you down that path. You could do for Wednesdays, you could do Waste Not Wednesdays. Or another one I really liked was Worldly Wednesdays, where you tried different cuisine across the globe. Or Walk Wednesdays, things that you make at a walk. For Thursdays, you could do comfort food classics, so like Throwback Thursday, so all that comfort food. Or you could do Thankful Thursday, so where you're just eating Thanksgiving food, or you are having each member of the family choose the food that they're most thankful for, and that's what you eat that night. Or on Fridays, you can do pizza night. That's my personal favorite. Or you could do Fish Friday. Then on Saturdays, you can do Sandwich Saturdays or Soup Saturdays or Salad Saturdays or all of the above. And then on Sundays, you could do Brenner, you could do Slow Cooker. So hopefully that gives you a couple ideas that you could do from a theme meal perspective. But again, I've got those listed, linked in the show notes, so that way you can consult that. You didn't have to write those down. The other thing that is really important to getting this to stick is, once again, choosing a day of the week. So I normally start, the process I follow is I normally start by identifying the meals that I want to eat on a Sunday. Then the next day, I'm actually building out the grocery list and I'm ordering them online. And then the third day, I'm actually picking up the groceries and doing the cooking. And by me, I'm not doing any cooking. So if you've been here a while, you know how much I believe in outsourcing. We absolutely outsource this. It is very inexpensive for us to have somebody come in one day of the week, just crunk through the meals. The person we use, she is incredible in the kitchen. She's also way faster than me, and it keeps us eating healthy. So that's an option. Another option is for you to do a meal delivery service, something like Blue Apron or HelloFresh. That tends to be a little bit more expensive, I've found. I also just really am pretty picky, so I like having my own meals. So it doesn't work for me, but those type of meal delivery services work for a lot of people. So, friends, I want you to stop cycling through, like feeling like you need to eat out because you don't have enough time, or not taking care of yourself because you're eating out. Like, I want you to be able to make this habit work. So, to recap, first, you're going to build out your inventory. Second, you're going to build out calendar entries. Third, each week, you're going to choose a day, you're going to sit down, you're going to figure out what your calendar looks like the next 2 weeks. You're going to do this 2 weeks at a time. Then you're actually going to start building out your meals for that week. Then it's time to order the groceries. Highly recommend you order online. I promise, even if they give you crappy strawberries, like there's one that went bad, that 30 cents you're wasting is going to be worth your weight in gold. So have somebody else do your shopping, do the online ordering. It's so much faster. So as always, thank you for being here. I'm just so grateful for anybody that's tuning in and listening, particularly if you continue to come back. Even better if you subscribed, and even better if you've shared me with somebody else. So before you leave, if you are tired of meal fatigue, you are tired of constantly having to think about lunchbox ideas for your kids, I'm going to link some ideas in the show notes. If you go to that link, it will give you multiple ideas on healthy, quasi-healthy lunch ideas for your kids. So check that out. If you like what you're hearing, please share with a friend. I am beholden now to you all and my village for getting this podcast off the ground. So please share with a friend, subscribe, rate and review us. All of that goes a long way to helping the algorithm get me in front of more people. So thank you for being part of my village. But until next time, friends, if nobody's told you lately, you're doing a great job. You've got this, mama.